I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to TortureCast.
Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep into left center field. It's on its way. Adios! Pelota!
Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Let's go Giants! SF Giants!
A grand slam for Buster Posey's good friend.
A podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Chad King, Eric Nathanson, and Willie Dills. This is the TortureCast.
It's Tuesday, August 4th, 2026, and this is episode 344 of the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the AAA San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Chad King, and joining me today to talk about this crazy trade crap that went down yesterday and the day before is Eric Nathanson. I mean, how is it, Eric, watching the Sacramento River Cats play Major League Baseball now?
Well, I have watched parts of the last two nights, and it was very jarring to have a different lineup out there. I forget the guy's name who led off for the Giants yesterday. What is it? Folsom? I don't remember. He was just called up. But it was funny to watch. I'm happy that the trade deadline went the way it was. I got to tell you, on Sunday, I'm sitting there thinking this is not going to go the way we want it to go, and then all of a sudden Monday happened, and I'm quite pleased. So I'm happy to watch the Sacramento River Cats for the time being.
No, we've talked about it before, and some people called for a complete teardown, but that's kind of hard to do when you do have a lot of large contracts and veterans on this team with years still left on there. So we were throwing out, it is possible for a Devers, a Chappie, even with a no trade clause, even a Jung-Hoo Lee. The only one that really was kind of locked in as a no trade asset was Logan Webb. But we thought maybe one of those stars might go, but I don't think you and I thought there was going to be a complete teardown to the studs. That said, I mean, there's a lot of sheet wall that was ripped down, that's for sure. So I would say this was about a semi-half teardown, if you will. But you know what? I'm happy with it like you are, because the Giants were going absolutely nowhere this year. I think everybody knows that. That's not a surprise. Were there entertaining players that were traded away? Absolutely. But, 3 out of 6 of them were in their last year of their contract, and there was a 95% chance they were not coming back to the Giants anyway. So why? Why hold on to them for this year? Why not get something out of them? I mean, even though every single guy that they traded and got, a couple of them have had some appearances in the major leagues, of course, but not all of them are major league ready. Most of them are minor leaguers still, so they may not even develop into major league players. But at least you're trying, at least you're getting something. I mean, you're not going to trade away a Luis Arraez and get a Zach Wheeler. Obviously that doesn't work, and that never has worked. So you're almost always going to get prospects. So it's the promise of what may come. And no one really knows what's going to happen. But overlooking what the Giants pulled off in these 5 trades, with many of them going down within hours of the deadline, I think went as well as you could have expected.
Yeah, they loaded up on pitching. I'm counting it right now. Five pitchers. And a former top prospect infielder in the Marcelo Meyer deal for the Eric Miller in the Boston trade. Yeah. So it's a new direction. The talk about Tony Vitello when he was hired is that he's good at developing young talent, and then he was handed a roster full of old guys. I'm really kind of excited to see what Vitello has in store now, that he has to mix and match and play a bunch of different guys. We're going to see a lot of Grant McCray. Apparently, we're going to see a lot of Oslevis Basabe. We're definitely, Basabe is good too. I mean, he homered again tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're going to get guys like Jonah Cox back to get a look at them. Obviously, no more Harrison Bader. But I love the fact that the Giants blew it up right away. That they didn't say, "Oh, let's give Vitello the full year." They read the writing on the wall this year and say, "Okay, we're on pace to lose almost 100 games. We're not in contention for jack shit this year. Let's go ahead and do it." The Ramos one, I mean, that was interesting, but not surprising. I mean, he maybe has reached the ceiling here. and it's time to clear the way for somebody who could have more talent down the pipeline. So that one's understandable. And like you said, with Arise and Ray, we knew they were going because of the expiring contracts. But were you surprised by any of the guys that got traded? Like Eric Miller one surprised me a little bit, but I did, because he's also controllable. But were you surprised by any of the moves that they made?
Not really, because Elliot Ramos was kind of rumored in the last 5 or 6 days before the deadline. The Yankees were attached to that rumor, and I kind of saw some of the things, and we're going to break this all down. We're going to talk about each individual one, but I kind of agree that he's a very valuable asset. He was an all-star last year. I actually like the guy. His defense obviously is very subpar, but he's an exciting player. His offensive stats are better on the road, so that could have been attractive to the Yankees as well. But I agree with you. I think he might have hit his ceiling here. It's not that he can't do better. He just hasn't shown that he will. So I think it was worth the idea of getting something for him at this point, because the market was rich for, or I should say weak for, right-handed outfielders, and so the Giants took advantage of that opportunity and leveraged it into an infielder and stuff. So I think the Eric Miller one, just because he's a fireballer, I wasn't surprised. I thought they might jettison 1 or 2 of their flamethrowers. I didn't know it was going to be Killian and Miller. I think that combo surprised me.
Right.
Because they're the
two
hardest
best out
throwers.
of the bullpen.
Yeah, exactly. They're their 2 best and the hardest throwers in their bullpen. And so it's like, oh, both of them are gone. But again, Robbie Ray didn't have any time left. Rise and Molly, of course, were rentals essentially. So, and they weren't coming back to the Giants. So overall, I think they did great. And I think I want to kind of approach this with, I'll just read off the trades just so everybody's familiar with it. We'll read a little bit of what Posey said after all these trades went down, and then you and I can really break it down and kind of get into the nitty-gritty. All right, so we had all these trades, 5 trades. Probably the biggest one was Luis Ariz and Caleb Killian traded to the Philadelphia Phillies for right-handed pitcher Ramon Marquez and right-handed pitcher Marty Guerre. Now, Ramon Marquez, and we'll get into this, was a number 4 prospect for the Phillies, so that's one good thing there. Elliot Ramos traded to the New York Yankees for left-handed pitcher Henry Lillane and shortstop Caden Kent, the son of, yes, Jeff Kent. Now we also have the nephew of Barry Bonds on the team, so I don't know what we're doing here. We're rolling it back to 2002, I guess, right now. Robbie Ray traded to the Padres for right-handed pitcher Miguel Mendez and shortstop. I actually don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Joniel or I don't know. Joniel Hernandez.
Yoniel? I don't know. Yeah.
Eric Miller and Carlos Gutierrez, who was not on the Major League roster, but the 40-man traded to the Red Sox for infielder Marcelo Meyer, who, of course, was one of their prized 3 prospects just a year ago. But his stock has dropped a little bit. We'll talk about that. And then Tyler Mahle to the Braves for right-handed pitcher Anthony Molina. He's kind of a not the greatest reliever. We'll see what happens there. But it really was more of a salary dump, I think, in that regard. And maybe they can make a reclamation project out of Molina. Posey shortly after said, quote, "We're very happy with the players we got back, but we also understand that until the production actually happens on the Major League field, you're kind of just dreaming." I mean, I appreciate that he actually called that out, because it's true. It's like they got hope. They traded for hope, right?
Yep.
But we are excited about our return and just looking forward to watching these guys develop. I guess you can characterize, if you want, but I wouldn't necessarily say a rebuild. I mean, obviously, we moved 6 Major League players off our roster today. I guess the message is we're not satisfied with the way that we've played this year and the last few years, and we're trying everything we can to continue to build a product that we can all be excited to come and watch. That was really the goal in this. Even if we have to subtract a little bit now, can we potentially add some players that we think our fans are going to be excited about and hopefully wear a Giants uniform for a long time? So I don't see anything wrong with those statements. I think he addressed the fact that, we don't know what's going to happen with these players. It is hope until the production happens. And, there's going to be a drop-off. It's a little bit of a rebuild, but that's the hope, that things are going to get better in, 2 or 3 years. So I don't know. What did you think overall about Posey's statements there?
Well, I think it's a rebuild. I think the Giants just don't like to say the word rebuild.
Sure.
Even though they've had to kind of go through this. I liked what Posey did. I like what he had to say about it. He's right. you just got to be accountable and say that you're not satisfied with the way things are playing out and that you're trying to, get something new and fresh in there. So I do appreciate that. And I appreciate that the fact were off that they were able to make this many moves with the blessing of ownership. They still managed to hold on to Logan Webb and Jung-Hoo Lee. And I really wish that one of the reporters had asked if there were a lot of calls about Logan Webb, even though Buster said he was off on that. And they did kind of get leaked out that Lee was staying put because of his popularity. So I totally called that on the last show, which is just hysterical and clown. That's me. So I think that there are some questions that still need to be answered. But as far as what went down, I think he seemed to be on the right track. And, I appreciate him trying not to say it's a rebuild. But, I mean, come on, man. It's a rebuild. You're trading off of more than a fifth of your major league roster. Yeah. It's a rebuild.
It's
they got gut,
man.
Yeah, it is. That's why it was so funny. Like, there was like 7 guys on the taxi squad.
It was like half of a starting lineup. I mean, it was insane how much they got rid of.
It really was.
Yeah, I mean, they did save almost $9 million in the payroll. That's great, but it kind of pales in comparison with the total payroll. But even 10%, 9%, 8% helps, I guess. It could help them maybe get that one extra player in the next year or two. But yeah, let's talk about these individually. This is in no particular order, just what I kind of put in the notes. But Molly, Ray, and Arise, of course, were rentals at this point. They were not going to come back. Their contracts were expiring at the end of this year. I think Arise was definitely parlaying his experience with the Giants into a multi-year contract with the promise to play second base, which is one of the reasons he signed with the Giants, because they're the only team that would offer him that infield position. And boy, did he put in the work this offseason, and then also working with Ron Washington this year, which apparently was a big help. He is one of the top second basemen defensively and in runs saved in the majors at second base. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic. I think, in fact, he's like 9th overall for all positions for runs saved.
Yeah, for like
defensive runs saved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's had a spectacular year at second base. And now, he could win a batting title as well again. And, he's the least amount of strikeouts in the league. The guy is Tony Gwynn Jr. I mean, he is just a hitting machine. He's a lot of fun to watch. We've talked about it. Of course, I wish this guy would stay on the Giants for years to come. It would be so awesome. But you have to look at reality. They offered a 1-year deal. He took it. He's having a great year, which is great for the Giants, because either you get a great year of production and or you trade him and get prospects for him. But the one thing that probably was not going to happen is signing him to a multi-year contract after this year was up. There'll be too many guys. He'll probably freaking go to the Dodgers for all we know. I mean, I don't know. It's just... Right. And we didn't even talk about that, by the way. With Tyler Skubal, of course, going to the Dodgers. Where else would he go? The best the best tradable pitcher in the major leagues. And to me, by the way, as a side note, I didn't think they got a lot back, the Tigers.
They didn't. We got better returns on some of these trades.
Yeah. And so that to me stinks so highly, Eric. It's not that the Tigers want to help the Dodgers. It's not that. It's just Major League Baseball just kind of looked at it and went, yeah, we approve that. I'm like, what the hell? You traded a $100 bill for a couple nickels. Like, what? Huh? It made no sense to me. By the way, the Dodgers World Series chances went up like 5% or 7% or something like that.
Oh,
so.
I'm sure. Well, because that's about what a starting pitcher, another one brings. Like, the Brewers could have beaten that kind of an offer. Why aren't the Brewers out there? Somebody? Hell, even the Padres could have beaten that kind of an offer. That's just, I'm with you. That was a little suspect that the Dodgers managed to get Skubal, and now they get to put the full court press on him for 2 months to see if they can sign him to a long-term extension if there's baseball next year.
If there's baseball next year. And that's a really good point, and we'll revisit that in a future episode, because I think that is the huge elephant coming just out. It's waiting outside the room right now, and I think the Dodgers just made that elephant a little bit bigger with this trade. I'll be honest.
Yep.
This absolutely did not help the case for the players in this whole shebang. The collective bargaining agreement, I think, is screwed, and we may not have baseball next year. So we're gonna have to enjoy it this year, Eric. because I don't know that
Enjoy
nature.
it? Have you
enjoy
watched the
what?
Giants?
This product?
All
Yeah,
the good,
Tyler.
all the good players are hurt or traded. I mean, Schmitt
Yeah.
going down also why a rise. I mean, Schmitt in general is also why a rise is expendable. And
Yeah.
like you said, you're not going to sign a multi-year. Plus, I mean, Casey can play second. Casey can play anywhere, obviously. It does free up some space. I mean, they still have that long game at first base, though, with Bryce Eldridge and Rafi Devers.
Yeah.
And so I thought that maybe Devers was a possibility to be on the move again, but it looks like they are digging in and just sticking with the lefty platoon that they have going on.
Yeah. The good old traditional
with
lefty platoon.
I mean, it's like we knew basically everybody was available except for Wesley and Eldridge, right?
Yeah.
So I think the fact that they did get a decent return on a rise, they got pitching. That's what they wanted to do was get pitching. But the Caleb Killian part of it, I'm with you. That kind of it's hysterical though, because Caleb Killian has now been traded by the Giants twice at the trading deadline because he was part of the Chris Bryant deal in 2021.
Oh, I forgot about that. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. That's really weird.
I know, right? You got to wonder if he comes back, does he get traded away? And he's not even like a lefty specialist. You know, those guys like a Javier Lopez who used to get traded all the time at the deadline. It's not, Loogie isn't a thing anymore. So
Loogie isn't a thing anymore. Yeah.
Right, they're not as valuable, but it's funny to be traded by the same team twice at the trade deadline.
So as far as trades go, I mean, look, this is totally subjective, and we won't know until these players develop. I think right now, for me personally, I think the Ramon Marquez get from Philadelphia might slightly edge out Marcelo Meyer for me. Ramon Marquez just seems to have huge upside. He's been doing obviously very well down at 2 single-A levels. He's got this crazy advanced changeup because he doesn't throw as hard as some of the guys. He is mid-90s now, apparently, but he's not, touching 100. But he's got a 1.83 ERA. He struck out 86 batters in 54 innings. And, of course, he's the Phillies' 4th-ranked prospect. And he had really, really high hopes in the Philly organization. What's really crazy is that he was signed in a tryout in Mexico. Like, he just showed up.
Wow.
And he got signed. And, like, what? Like, it's the craziest thing. So, I don't know. Apparently, all the scouts are fawning over him, and most people say that he's definitely the prize of this. I don't know what you think about that. Because, again, a rise you're not going to have anymore. So, hey, we got Ramon Marquez.
Well, I like he has. I've reading up on him. It says he has a fastball slider, but apparently his money pitch is a changeup.
Yeah.
And he should become immediately their second best pitching prospect behind Jackson Flora.
And that's what Posey said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I like that. I like the sound of that. He's a top 100 prospect in baseball. How can you be, upset with that? You shed $3.7 million. And so I'm with you. I think he's the best. He's the best arm. He's obviously the best arm that they got at this deadline. You mentioned Mayer in the other trade. That was also a decent get in my mind. But I agree. I think that Marquez is probably the cream of the crop, and I hope that we see him within like 2 years. I mean, this sounds promising. That he could possibly make his way up through the majors. Like we could see him in Double-A next year, and possibly in the big leagues at the end of the year. Again, qualifying that there's a season, exactly. Or in camp the following year. So he's got a lot of upside. I love this trade. Luis Ariz, I'd love to re-sign him. Great guy, so much fun to watch. But I mean, tell me, he didn't hit the lottery, man. By signing with the Giants and getting Ron Washington as his, infield coach, who turned him into an all-star caliber second baseman. Like what a golden ticket he got. So now he's going to get paid a probably 3 to 4 year deal after this season because he may win another batting title, and improved his defense 1,000%. I know that that's not a real number. Don't worry, pill prices are going down 800%. But he really used the Giants as the perfect springboard, and the Giants got something back for it. And that's what I appreciate about it is that Buster and Zach went out and actually got something for it, so it doesn't feel like a lost season with Luis Ariz. So hopefully Marquez is that guy because I think he could be. We could see him in a year or two.
By the way, it was wild that Ariz hit number 4 for the Phillies. tonight.
I saw that. I was like, what? But
Yeah,
they put like Schwarber and
Schwarber
Harper
always hits leadoff, right? Like that's just a common thing. And then they went Turner, Harper, and then Arise, and then Bohm, Realmuto, sorry, Marsh, Stott, and Crawford. But yeah, he played second base, so obviously they're fine with that.
That's a bizarro lineup. You've got the light hitting guy hitting fourth. Everybody around him can hit home runs. That is literally from Bizarro
Any
world.
traditional lineup, you'd immediately swap him and Schwarber. You'd just be like, whoop.
Yeah.
But that's not how they did it. And look, he went 2 for 4 with 2 ribbies, so he did great. All right, so we went. Let's go Elliot Ramos next. Like we said, it hurts a little bit. He was, one of the longer tenured Giants. He was drafted by the Giants all the way back in 2017. I love there was a photo of a baby Ramos after his draft, because they always bring the draftees to Oracle Park the next 2 days or something after the draft, and he's sitting there right by Bruce Bochy, who was still managing the team, and he's just this little kid on the bench in a Giants jersey. It was really weird to see. He looked so different 9 years ago. So there's all that nostalgia and always a Giant, but it's not like he was Buster Posey or Brennan Crawford or any of these guys. He just he was a good Giant, but he still had 3 more years left of club control. So that's the only part that was a little surprising, even though the rumors were flying, just because they did have a lot of control from him. But like I said earlier, the reality is that the DH is locked up in Eldridge endeavors, whoever wants to swap there. And then there's a lot of outfield talent coming through the system, and then the market was starved for right-handed outfielders. So they got a pitcher and an infielder to balance out their own system. So it's, whenever you have a system that you're just too overloaded in one section, sometimes it makes more sense to trade away that to then get in return what is going to balance your system out. So in the end, I had no problem with the trade. It's just, I think psychologically, it's just, you do see a few Ramos jerseys running around, and he's in their promotional materials, and, they had a bobblehead and stuff, and he's gone, and he's in the evil pinstripes, but what are you going to do? They got a good return for him, I think, and we move on.
Yeah. Ramos, it's like we said, he hit his ceiling here. He was a good Giant. He was. The only right-handed batter to ever hit a ball into McCovey Cove.
That's right.
And then get spurned by McCovey Cove Dave. So maybe now he can say what he really feels to McCovey Cove Dave, since he's not part of the Giants. And he fits that Yankee team and stadium with the way he does shoot that ball to right field and right center field. That's the right and right center is really the jet stream Yankee Stadium. So he's kind of tailored for that park. He also played tonight for the Yankees. He went 0 for 4. So, he didn't have as good of a start as Arise did. But, no tears will be shed. Ramos he was never touted as the next greatest thing. We always thought maybe he'd be a solid major leaguer, and he pretty much was. He was a decent major leaguer. He may be hitting below average a little bit this season, but it kind of is one of those things where I'm not going to miss him, and it's not because I don't like him. It's just because he's like many other outfielders that we've seen go through baseball teams. He's a pretty average player. He does have a few above average characteristics. So, but it's time to let other people see what they can do. Grant McCray, like I said, is going to get a shot now. So I love the return in the sense that they got a left-handed pitcher that they can just stash in the minors and see if he flourishes into something. He's the Yankees' number 5 prospect. Yeah. So Henry Lalemian. So that was pretty good. And then I had no idea that Jeff Kent's kid was in the Yankees organization. I knew that he played college ball because I remember seeing him, I think, at last year's College World Series, but I had no idea the kid was good enough to be in a system, and now he's a Giant. So the year that the Giants retire Jeff Kent's number, his son will be in the system, and I'll bet you the kid's there when they retire his number later this month. So overall, I like the round.
Yeah, apparently the story goes the Giants were planning to draft him. I can't remember what round it was. I want to say it was a 3rd or 4th round. I don't remember. And they thought, okay, he's going to slip to us, no problem. And the Yankees snagged him 13 positions above. So they had their eye on him. They definitely wanted to draft him. They just did it 1 round too late. So in the end, they got the guy that they wanted. But yeah, like you said, he's not like a top 10 prospect or anything like that. Yeah, the name is there, but that's not why he was drafted. He was a decent college player. It's just, I don't think people need to expect anything out of him, right? He's not going to be like his father. I'm not, not saying he can't be. I'm just saying that's not what the aspirations are for him. So, but he may turn into a serviceable utility infielder in the major leagues. I mean, who knows, right? Some of these guys, like a Bichette, the Bichettes have done this and others have done this. So maybe it'll work out. But yeah, I'm not going to cry over Ramos. I think you and I, and even Willie, are fairly level-headed. We do have our rants. We have, gone off on little cursing tirades, but nothing like what you see on other podcasts, Eric, because I'll tell you what got into my social media feed on the TortureCast account was a whole string of Yankees podcasts who just went off about this trade, just railing it hardcore. One in particular, I forget the name of the podcast, but they do a video podcast, right? Like we used to do. And their guys were sitting there absolutely flaming the trade, dropping F-bomb after F-bomb in their New York accent. But in the background, they looped a video series of about, 15 to 20 errors that Elliot Ramos made over the years, and that's all they were playing. I was like, this is so evil. They're just like, every dropped ball, every bad throw. Remember he had a couple at the beginning of this year, beginning of last year, where it was just like a comedy of errors. He was just like all over the place, missing balls, throwing to the wrong base, flipping it up in the air.
Atlanta last year was like the low point, and everybody was like, they need to chew him out, but nobody did.
We did a podcast about how bad his defense was for about a week or two. It was like, he just forgot how to play baseball, but they were using a bunch of those video clips in the background just to say how bad he was. But anyway, they were flaming it. I thought that was funny. So I thought it was a decent return. I don't think it's horrible for the Yankees, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, Killian Miller, of course, two of the hardest throwing Giants, but again, they got one of Philly's best pitching prospects, one of Boston's big prospects, and even if his stock has dropped a bit, Marcelo Meyer will probably slot into second base. He was, they were talking about last year when Boston was looking to trade. They said, we'll trade anyone but our big three, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and I forget the other guy's name. He was formerly untouchable. And he did have a cup of coffee with Boston. He was the opening day second baseman this year for Boston. But he's now since been injured. He's rehabbing now. He's back to swinging and whatever. So we may not see him actually have action before the end of the year. Hopefully we will somewhere in the minor leagues. But I think this guy, if he can get healthy again, he has a lot of upside. He was still is, just not as high, highly touted infield prospect with a lot of power. Last year, some of the biggest, analysts like Tim Kirkjian and others were like, this guy is heading towards a 30 home run season for Boston. That's how lofty his expectations were last year. So those aren't necessarily gone because he's had a little slip up with some injuries this year. And I think the Giants pounced on that. It's kind of like the stock market. They bought when he was low. And most likely it's going to go back up again. So I think this was a great trade.
Yeah, I let's see this. He was the fourth pick in the 2021 draft.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 23-year-old infielder. He's 6'3". Jeez. But like you said, he did play in the majors this year and last year apparently. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't look like he's really put the power numbers together yet. He's only got 7 career home runs and 364 plate appearances only. Like I could hit a home run, but he has 7 homers and 364 plate appearances. But he's only batting .223, and his OPS is 625. So
yeah,
it makes sense why they didn't want to keep trotting him out there on the major league roster. So I could see. I think they put him in. Well, they haven't put him anywhere. He's on the IL right now. He's recovering from some injury, so I don't know where he is roster wise, but I assume he'll probably go to Sacramento.
I assume he will. Let's see. Officially, there's so many injuries here. We didn't even talk about Casey Schmitt. He has a bone stress reaction in the left ulna. He went on the IL June 26th. Expected to return August or September. Will report to San Francisco on August 5th, which is tomorrow, for an evaluation. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would suspect if he is activated later this year, if Sacramento still has their season going, I guess. I don't know. I always forget when AAA ends. It's always earlier, but they got that. And then kind of the throwaway contract trade was Mally to Mally to get Molina, who has a 6.89 ERA in 55 career games. He was directly optioned to Sacramento. So, that I think Molly's been better as of late. There's no doubt about it. He's been great as of late. But, $2 million left on his contract, and he just had kind of a subpar year. So they got maybe a reclamation project in that. But by the way, with Robbie Ray, I knew he had been doing better. His ERA had come all the way down to like 3.0 or whatever. But over his last 10 starts or since June 1st, he's got like a 1.8 ERA. It's like second best in the majors.
Really good.
Like, I didn't even realize that. But that obviously increased his trade stock because, these guys are looking for someone to push him in the playoffs. Still a little surprised the Padres went after him, but hey, they did. And he just had,
I thought he. Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I thought he fit well with the Brewers. I thought that would have been a good one.
Yeah. He did have a good audition with the Padres. Held him in one run in like 5 or 6 innings. So Padres are like, we like that guy. We'll trade him now that he just beat us.
Don't let him leave the building. Yeah, don't let that guy leave the building.
He's the only guy that beat us. I know.
We the Giants originally got him when they got rid of DeSclafani and Mitch Haniger, which was that's one of their better trades of the last 10 years even. Getting Robbie Ray for those 2 trash heaps, and then Robbie Ray, I think he an all-star one time as a Giant. He might have been last year or the year before. I'm not sure. But I thought he was a good Giant.
He was a good Giant. It was, because when they traded for him, he was still on the IL recovering from Tommy John surgery. So no one knew how he was going to come back. I mean, everyone expected after TJ that usually those pitchers bounce back pretty quickly, and he did. He's done a great job with the Giants, and right now he's in the zone, man. He is. I mean, his stats are better than Logan Webb's right now. I mean, statistically speaking, he is their best pitcher. Period. He is. So I would still prefer Logan Webb over him. I'm just saying, statistically, he was their best pitcher. He's now a Padre. So, but isn't he also like 36 or 37 years old?
He's 34. This is his age 34 season.
Okay, not quite.
He was an All-Star last year. So when he came back, when he came back late 2024, and then had a really good year last year. I mean, I remember he kind of ran out of gas. And that's the one thing that the Padres have to look out for is last year Robbie Ray absolutely ran out of gas. His last month and a half, he was throwing so many more pitches. It was tougher for him to get through games. But like you said, over the last 10 games, he's just been nails. And so it's, it makes sense. There's not it's not a whole lot there. I mean, they got their number 4 prospect from San Diego, who has a mid-90s fastball that can reach triple digits with an excellent slider. So, again, taking a flyer on starting pitching and apparently paying half of the salary. So the salary relief on that one, though, was $4.36 million. Wow, that's a lot. So
that's almost half of what they saved in total. So,
That's so weird. Yeah, that is. I didn't expect it to all come from Ray, but I mean, I guess that makes sense. Arise was only a 1 year, I believe, $10 million. Molly was a 1 year, $10 million. So they're already on the back third of the year for the contract. So I guess that makes sense. But overall, I mean, Robbie Ray, I'm curious to see what he does because he can't sign like a real long-term deal after this year. Like you said, he's old, so he's probably only going to get a 2 or 3 year deal like Adrian Hauser did with the Giants this season. That's why the Molly move made sense over Hauser. Molly is basically, okay, you wash your hands of it, you screwed up, move on. Yep. But Hauser, you have another year, so you might as well try to utilize him, try to get something out of him, develop him into this bullpen weapon that they're trying to make him. Maybe he'll get some starts or he'll get to piggyback an opener now that, half the rotation's gone. So I think that's a possibility for them going forward. That's why Hauser stayed and Molly was the one that went. And, I mean, I'd sum it up. Would you give a grade for the Giants trade deadline? I'd say they pretty much nailed it with a B plus, maybe even an A minus. I thought that this was some of the best work the Giants have ever done during the deadline.
Yeah, no, I think I would give them a solid A minus. I really would. I was thinking about that letter grade earlier today. Probably the biggest haul I can remember in any recent, memory. I mean, part of the reason is the Giants, they haven't been competitive, but one out of the last 9 years. Well, I should say they haven't made the playoffs, but one of the last 9 years. But with the expansion of the wild card, they have been in the race the majority of those 9 years. So they weren't ever, I guess, motivated to do something like this, right? This year, 2017 was another season. And remember, they were trying to trade Madison Bumgarner, and no one would take him. No one would take him. They were really dangling him out. So, we've been burned and frustrated by trying to get stuff for players in the past. But I think, last year it was Camilo Duvall. We got some good prospects out of that. That was a good trade because look at Duvall now, right? The Giants, I think, did well. It's probably the best trade deadline I've seen them have in a very long time. In the past, when they were going for it, they got, Marco Scutaro and Cody Ross and Hunter Pence and these guys. But that was in addition to with major league players. As far as like getting potential talent back, getting minor leaguers back, very high prize minor leaguers. I can't even remember a draft like this, Eric. I don't.
No.
Yeah. So
I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned. Usually the Giants won't let themselves do this, but now they've got to show their stuff. Now Tony V's got a chance to coach up some guys. Buster and Zach have some work to do, figure out a way to get free agents to want to come to San Francisco. And they got to get healthier again. So, now it's almost like now the real work actually begins for the Giants, even though there's only 2 months left in the season. It really does. Now they've got to self-evaluate, and it seems like they did a pretty good job of doing that by what they offloaded and got in return at the deadline. Because, I keep going back to it, it's a mess of pitching. It is so much pitching that they got back, and you can never have too much pitching, and that's kind of been the Giants' mantra the last couple of years. They've been stockpiling. Their system, their farm system, is amongst the top 10 now in baseball. And it's just very weird to think that, finally we had somebody build up the farm system, because it's been years since the Giants have been ranked that high. So, hopefully it turns into future wins. And for once, the Giants did something right in the 2026 season. It's the only thing they've done right in the 2026 season. Sorry, I take it back. Bryce Eldridge getting at bats every day is the other thing that they got right this year. But,
sure.
in a year of crap, this was a very refreshing trade deadline.
And I do think you touched upon it earlier. Tony V has a lot more wiggle room now. I know that he was signed to a 3-year contract. We were talking about how short is the leash, and we all agreed before the trade deadline, they're going to give him this year no matter what. Even if they lose 100 games, they're going to give him as okay, it's his first year. He's getting his feet wet. They didn't have the best roster. They had a horrible bullpen. There's only so much he could affect. They had the Pride Night thing and blah blah blah, and then injuries. Obviously, you had Matt Chapman. Now you have Casey Schmitt. That was a real gut punch because he's having a career year, and then he goes out and tears his meniscus, and that's it. He had surgery and he's out for the year. And it's wait, what? Oh man, the guy was on pace for 30 home runs. This sucks. But this is the Giants' bugaboo, right? It's just, it happens. But looking at the roster now, it's hilarious. I'm going to read some names that don't necessarily raise eyebrows. Well, they do, but in the wrong way. Jason Foley, Revere San Martin, Casey Seymour, Drew Kavanaugh came up a while ago. Basabi I actually like. He's been actually very, very good. Nate Furman, Buddy Kennedy, they just claimed off of waivers from Seattle. That's a good baseball name, though, I gotta say. Buddy Kennedy. And Edis Leonard. I've literally never heard of this guy. And he's an infielder on the Major League roster now. I'm like, wait, who? What? But he was part of the big call-up that they had. They traded 6 players from the Major League roster. They called up 5. They didn't have a 6th one to call up. So they were playing short a guy yesterday in Texas, which was hilarious. They won. And their outfielders right now are Drew Gilbert, Jung Hoo Lee, and Grant McCray. okay, here we go. Right? And you look at the Dodgers or the Brewers or, one of these other teams, the Yankees, and you're like, okay, I get it. And then, of course, Eldridge at DH. But, yeah, it's going to be – it was already a very difficult product to watch. It's now gotten much more difficult to watch, Eric. And, I mean, difficult in the sense of good quality on the field. But I think we can temper that with – it's kind of like – when my kids were playing, Little League. Like, I want to watch them play. I wanted to coach them. I wanted to see how some of these kids developed. Oh, we're playing the number one team in the league. Okay, we're going to get destroyed. But let's focus on what we can focus on. Development of this kid at third base. This kid's at bats. Whatever. I think that's the way we have to take the Giants season now. Obviously, we can't and shouldn't necessarily care about the wins and losses at this point. It's a lost season. But this is the time to call up a bunch of the younger kids and let them get a shot at major league talent. And let's just see what happens. I mean, that's all we can do at this point. That's all the Giants can do at this point. So it's going to be frustrating on occasions, for sure, especially when bullpens blow games. Or I guess tonight, Jung-Hoo Lee took a bad route to a ball, and that was the walk-off for the Rangers tonight. And so that's not a minor leaguer.
No.
It's going to be bad baseball. I think we have to expect it. And now 100 losses is always in play, but not necessarily a guarantee. I think the chances of a 100-loss season significantly increased.
Yeah. It's funny. I did the math earlier on their current base, and they're just shy of a 100-loss season. The fact that they are going to have to play all these young kids, I mean – it was evidenced today, too. I mean, by the fact the Giants' starting pitcher was Blade Tidwell. So, it's like you said, you take the little victories or the little things, you watch for those things to see improvement. That was a guy that was coveted at last year's deadline. So, can he make a name for himself and get in the rotation and do something for the team? Those are the things you have to look at. When you trade two of your top three players in WAR, in Arise and Robbie Ray, yeah. So you're going to have those little things. Edis Leonard apparently played tonight. I tuned into the game late. He went 0 for 2, so I guess the guy now has major league experience. But he's just some journeyman that has been in like 4 or 5 different organizations. So he's obviously just a stopgap, and he'll probably be sent down once like a Jonah Cox is healthy. Or I'm thinking Jonah Cox because he's somebody that they want to get a look at. And Casey Schmitt, I mean, well, that was heartbreaking. I was watching the game when it happened. It was you couldn't tell if it was going to be bad at first. And then when he really couldn't put weight on it to go down the steps into the dugout was that moment of, oh, shit. And lo and behold, if they were in a race, they could, surgically repair it and speed up the recovery if they want to. But they're not in a race, so they're just shutting him down for the rest of the year. I mean, there's no question in my mind that Casey Schmidt's done. And he is next year's starting second baseman, probably for the Giants. But outfielders, the fact that they only have 3 outfielders, that's hysterical right now. I mean, I guess Koss can play out there if need be. Sure. But, they're shedding outfielders like crazy. I mean, think about it. Bader, Ramos, who was I just talking about? Casey Schmitt. It's they can't keep anybody healthy and on the field out there. It's kind of funny, but I'm excited to see the little things. Like Grant McCray had a home run in a game against Milwaukee last week that helped in a shutout victory. That was a close game. So you like to see that. Basabe getting good at bats over just the entire road trip, basically, because he came up a few days before the deadline. I know he homered in San Diego, and he's now got a homer in Texas, maybe 2 of them, or 2 in San Diego and 1 in Texas. So, it's kind of fun to see stuff like that. I honestly find the Giants games more entertaining right now than they were 2 days before the deadline. And it's good to see different faces. But, like you said, I haven't heard of, Eddie's whatever his name is. And we should not, hold our breath that he's going to be somebody who's long-term with the team. But it's refreshing. I have more hope. It's like Buster said. There you go. I'll tie it all back to Buster. And the fact that you're really just kind of dreaming, and you're putting everything on hope, and hope that the things, that the moves that they made actually come through, because It's not going to matter this year, so we might as well just enjoy fun things when they happen. Hey, the last thing that the Giants have to do this season is sweep a series. They still have yet to sweep a series.
That's crazy.
It is. Yeah, it is so frustrating to me. There are, I believe it's like 8 teams in the history of Major League Baseball that went through an entire season without sweeping a series. Yes, the 83 Mariners, the 04 D-backs, the 04 Royals, the 18 Marlins, the 19 Orioles, the 20 Cardinals. 20 doesn't count. That was a 60-game season. 21 Pirates and 22 Nationals, which is weird that they're all in the 2000s except for the Mariners in 1983. But the Giants could join this illustrious list. Their best shots are probably against Colorado, and they have that one makeup game at the end of the month in Atlanta. And they already won the first 2 games of the Atlanta series. How poetic would it be if Tyler Mahle was starting for the Braves and they beat him to sweep the Braves as their only sweep all season long? So that's one thing we've got to root for, because that's about all we've got to root for.
I pretty much, right? Pretty much.
I mean, I want to see moments. Like it was fun when they beat the Nats in that big comeback. That's a moment that'll stand out from the season. I can't think of really any other moments that'll stand out. Like last year with Patrick Bailey's inside the Parker, all these grand slams. It's just that's another thing this year. The Giants are hitting grand slams like crazy, so that's another fun thing.
Right? They're having such a crappy year, but they've had like the most grand slams they've ever had. Like they're like leading the major leagues in grand slams. Like what? That doesn't make any sense. But
I think they're now one shy of the record or something.
Yeah, they're now 48 and 66. They tied their season high or season low of 18 games under 500. And like you said, they're close to 100 loss pace. They're on pace for 68 and 94 with their winning percentage right now. So you could see how just a little losing streak here immediately puts them into that danger territory. So, but they've been doing this a lot lately, where they're winning the first game of a series and then losing the last 2. It's been very frustrating lately. And now the pattern has started again with Texas. They won the first one. They lost tonight. It's just, I don't know. It's very frustrating. They did it in the previous series against San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego. Yep.
Yeah, it's just like they show a little bit of promise. You get a little like, oh, okay, maybe they can take 2 out of 3 in this series. No, they lost the last 2 games. Never mind. It's just...
They almost had a winning month in June. They went 12 and 13 in July. They went 12 and 13 in July. They had a chance to have a winning month on the final game, and they lost it. They haven't had a winning month since September of last season. They went 13 and 12. Okay. Well, they haven't had a winning month this season. That's how you end up at 48 and 66.
Yeah. Well, what was nice is that Skubal did lose tonight. The Dodgers lost 5-1. He only allowed 2 runs in 6 innings, but he got charged with the loss. So yay! Yep. There's that. Go Cubs.
Go Cubs, go! Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's not common for intra-division trades, but it's like, look, if the Padres can sneak into the playoffs and the Giants helped them out with a Robbie Ray, and they can take down the Dodgers, then so be it, right?
Right.
It's just one of those things. So be it.
I don't hate the Padres. I hate the Dodgers. I don't hate. I kind of hate the Diamondbacks because they kind of tormented us in the early 2000s. It felt like so. Getting past them, getting over the hump to the early 2000s Bonds teams. But I don't hate the Rockies. I don't hate I only hate the Dodgers. The hate is reserved for the Dodgers. The other ones are like whatever.
Yeah,
they're kid brothers because they've never
They're
won
annoying
anything.
sometimes. Yeah, exactly.
Right. They're like
the
pests.
I truly hate. It's bad. I do like seeing a lot of the national kind of agnostic analysts really crapping on this Dodgers trade. Just going, dude, this is not good for baseball. It's just not. It's getting to the point. It was already ridiculous. Not just with, signing these fantastic players and then restructuring their contracts so they miss out on a lot of the luxury tax, like the Ohtani contract and others where they're like, I'll only take $2 million this year and then just pay me my $700 million in 10 years, right? And then, now the rich get richer with Skubal, and they didn't get much in return. So it's like the tide, I'm not going to say the tide's turning. It happens when the Giants had their mini dynasty. The Giants were starting to get hated by players and not players,
Yep.
but fans and stuff like that. So the Yankees have always been there, right? The Bulls were like that in the 90s. I mean, it's just when you get these dynasties and these overpowered teams, the 49ers in the 80s, it's like you start
Chiefs,
hating.
Patriots. Recently.
Yeah, Chiefs and Patriots. Like how much did I hate the Patriots in the 2000s and the 2010s, right? Because they won freaking 6 or 7 Super Bowls, and now the Chiefs, I cannot stand them because I feel like every Super Bowl that they've ever won was put together with duct tape and luck and magic, and a quarterback who has a dad bod. It doesn't make any sense to me, And then of course beating the Niners twice and horrible comeback 10-point fashion in the fourth quarter doesn't help. So.
No,
It is
That's
what
true.
it is. Oh God, don't even get me started on the Niners because now their season's about to start, and I'm like, as a season ticket holder, I'm getting a little frustrated because they haven't been
well,
able to do
Debo
jack.
came back because Pearsall's not going to make it this
Yeah,
year.
Pearsall's
obviously.
gone now. He's gone the entire. I could
that-
not believe that. I was like, what? This dude? Oh, he had some promise, man. He had some flashes. But now he's gone the entire. I'm like, how has he already gone the entire year? How? How does that happen? Hasn't even played. What? Huh? Oh well. Yeah. Now you got what's his face from Tampa Bay. He's like 37 years old, and then Chunky Debo, and those are your number 1 and 2, and you're like, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Nope.
I think the
That
Niners are gonna struggle.
probably-
All right. Well, coming up for the Giants, they got one more in Texas tomorrow. Then they come back home for a 9-game homestand. 3 versus Detroit, 3 against Houston, and then 3 against Colorado. It's been a tough year, Eric. I mean, I know that Willie went to a game earlier this year. I have not been to a game this year because obviously we got locked out of attending by press. But I just haven't made it up as a fan. But, we touched on it. We don't have to go into it now. But I've just been much less motivated to drive the hour and a half and to spend the money on the parking and the tickets and the food and everything. I love this team. And we still talk about it every week or two on this podcast. We do all, I watch a lot. I read a lot. But I guess I just don't want to spend the money and time to go see it in person. Is that bad?
I don't think most. No, I think most listeners actually would agree with you. They did have a bit of a decline in attendance, not a huge amount, but they had a little bit of a decline in attendance after the Pride Night thing. But this is the reason part of the reason they make the trip, though, is there are some people who will be more curious to come to the yard, and there'll be other
Right.
people who would be like, forget about it. And I don't blame you. Like I said, I think a lot of listeners would agree with you. It's not worth spending the money on to see the Giants this season. It just isn't. You're not going to see major league quality product, and you're giving money for basically I don't want to say because you're supporting the team, and I get that and I appreciate that. But there's no need to line the owner's pockets this season when everything from the top down has just been absolute dog shit. So just don't even bother. So I mean, you might make it through the season. I'm suspecting that you are going to make it through the season without getting to a game.
And
You probably have.
that'll be the first
had your
time
chance.
in my life.
Wow.
At least as an adult, I should say. I mean, long before this podcast, I'd go to many games a season with my friends and my family, right?
Yeah.
I've always been obviously a diehard Giants fan. I've always made it up there. I've always been within an hour and a half drive. They play 81 games at home. You're going to make, just a weekend game. My God, you're just going to do it. By the way, I think I may have said this on the podcast earlier. I do have the digital tape, or the tape. I need to digitize it, and I want to share it on TortureCast, although part of it is embarrassing. It's me in 1989 going up to Candlestick Park for a Giants game. My parents got a camcorder, and me and my brother, so I was 15 and a half at the time. My brother was 12. Just in the back seat of our car, goofing off, doing the faces and all that stuff like that. But then walking into the park with the nostalgic Shakey's 80s video camera. My mom, who took the camera, sometimes zooming in and taking way too much video and burning tape on like the scoreboard and the programs and people warming up in the outfield. But that game Will Clark hit a grand slam, and of course he was my favorite player, always has been. So we got that on film. Not good quality, but still got the grand slam on film. And it's really cool because, that's the kind of stuff that I've always loved since being a kid and being able to go to Giants games all the time, because it was always a place to go with friends and family, even if you weren't a huge Giants fan. I've always had a reason to go. This is one of the first times I can remember, and it's definitely since doing the podcast, where I don't actively have a desire to go to the ballpark. And it's mostly because of the effort and the cost. It's not that if I could instantly be transported and put into a seat to watch the game for a couple hours, I'd do that. I'd pay $10 to go do that, whatever. But it's like getting in the car, paying the gas, taking the time, going all the way up there. The parking's like $50. The tickets are, I know, cheaper now. By the way, the Giants have been starting to discount them. They have certain packages. They have like the Coors package where it's like $19 or $21, but then you get a voucher for a beer, but the beers are like $17. So everyone's like, it's like a $4 ticket. Still like still like a $19 beer, guys. Like, that's ridiculous. Their attendance has dropped, not significantly, but 5 to 10%. And I think it's going to drop a little bit further here as we go. But if they keep dropping those prices, you might see it kind of level out. But I agree with you. It's like, we don't need to line the millionaires' pockets. Like, they're not hurting for that. It's very frustrating. And then it's just been such an embarrassment of a season, not just with the performance on and off the field, the political controversy with Pride Night and how the Giants handled that. We didn't even talk about this, Eric, but the Harrison Bader incident. Like, we did not even talk about this. Like, you want to talk about just more Looney Tunes crap hitting the Giants and just, shaking your head. I'm not reading this. This is just upon my recollection. And I don't know if there's been any updates to the story in the last 24 hours or so. This happened. I was on vacation. I was in Hawaii when this all went down. And I honestly thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke at first. I could not believe that what was happening happened. But apparently he was down in the Balboa Cafe in San Francisco, and he was observed by witnesses drinking during the night. And he decided to hop on a scooter at 2 a.m. And I'm going to go ahead and say, Eric, there's not too many times a sober person is hopping on a scooter at 2 a.m. in San Francisco. Just going to put that out there. Highly unlikely. And apparently, and by the way, he's been on the IL for plantar fasciitis of his foot. He was the next day supposed to fly out to go see a specialist somewhere in the middle of the country somewhere to see if they could accelerate this healing or whatever, because it's been really nagging him this year. And, the contract has just been crappy. And I liked the signing. I thought, he's a fun guy. He's athletic. He's one of those hustle guys. I really like the signing. He just hasn't performed on the field, mostly because of injuries. He starts scootering. He runs into the back of a fire truck, and then said fire truck rolls backwards over his already injured foot, apparently causing a, quote, major injury. And since then, we can only speculate, because Buster Posey did come out and say that he's done for the year. He suffered an injury. We will not discuss this any further. And he is now basically suspended without pay. And it's like, oh, okay, this has gotten serious. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, I haven't heard anything that may have developed, but number one, obviously risky behavior is not allowed in the contract. So if it is shown or proven, because, the players have a lot of rights these days, and it's really hard to void contracts. But let's just say they have a really strong case. I think they should try to void his contract. They just can't stand for behavior like that, especially if, and this is the second question, fire trucks are not light, Eric. It just rolled over his already injured foot. And it caused a, quote, major injury, and they shut him down for the season. To me, it suggests, doesn't confirm, it suggests that, okay, his foot probably wasn't amputated, but it might have been crushed, dude. Like, I don't know. Do you think it could be the type of injury that he might not ever play baseball again?
I mean, possibly. I think we have to hear more. My feet are like pounding the ground right now thinking about not overtime. Fire truck. I mean, what a dumbass to be on the. Not only are you on the IL, if you're on the IL, do you really need to be out drinking at 2 a.m? Like I understand it's not really, I shouldn't question life choices, but that is a questionable life choice. When you're making millions of dollars a year, why are you out drinking, exposing your foot to possible injury? That's before you even get on a scooter and run into a fire truck. Like, what kind of a dumbass meathead move is that? And I do hope the Giants get out from under the contract. It turned into one of the biggest debacles. This free agency class of 2026 is going to go down as the worst in the history of the Giants. It's just, it's like funny how bad it is.
Yeah.
It really has. So it's, I hopefully they can get out of the contract and good riddance to him, because he obviously does not make smart decisions. And I don't expect these athletes to always make smart decisions, but I mean, seriously, if I'm on the injured list, I don't think I should be out drinking at 2 a.m. It's just the type of thing where my body needs rest to regenerate and help heal itself.
Yes.
Why am I ingesting alcohol at a bar at 2 a.m. and probably on that foot constantly? What is the thinking behind that? Just It makes no sense.
Well, what's even more depressing is the fact that he already did this in college, Eric. He was on a scooter drunk in college, and he got suspended for that behavior. So this is not the first time. I just thought, I mean, again, it's sad, but funny sad that the same thing happened to the same guy. He did the same thing. Like, it wasn't like he got drunk and did something else on a motor vehicle or flashed someone it was like the same behavior. He's like, he got drunk, got on a scooter, got in trouble. It's wild. It's just wild. And look, the Giants have a long history of using scooters. I mean, we all know about Hunter Pence. He was like scooter guy. Apparently Bob Melvin used a scooter to go back and forth across the clubhouse and the training facility. So the Giants have some sort of fascination with scooters. But anyway, I digress.
They're scooter friendly. Oh, yeah. That's funny.
You were going to say something that you remembered?
Oh, I was going to circle back and ask you if you know if Will Clark hit that grand slam off of.
You know what? I'd have to look it up. I cannot remember.
I'm looking at it right now. Do you know the team that they were playing that day?
It was the Reds, right?
Phillies. You're close. The
Phillies.
red in the
It
uniform.
was the Phillies.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Mike
I don't
Maddox
remember the pitcher for sure.
Yeah, Mike Maddox replaced Ken Howell with the bases loaded in the bottom of the third inning. Nope, that's the wrong one. With the bases loaded in the bottom of the fourth inning and 2 outs, and Will Clark hit a grand slam on the fifth pitch of the at bat, and then he retired Kevin Mitchell to get out of the inning. Rick Russell started for the Giants that day, and they won 8-5.
Yeah, they won 8-5.
I had Rick Russell's autograph growing up. He was a patient of my father. My dad did dental work on Rick Russell. Yeah, my dad did dental work on Andy Pafko, the guy who was in left field for the Dodgers when Bobby Thompson hit the ball over his head to win the pennant.
Oh wow!
I always thought
that's pretty amazing.
So yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like Russell, Cubs, and Pafko ended up playing for the Cubs, so it makes sense. They retired in the Chicagoland area somewhere.
Yeah.
So all the All-Stars on my team one year when I was 9 years old, I was on the Giants. All the All-Stars got Rick Russell's autograph. I'm sure the other kids didn't give a shit, but they were Cubs fans. But I had Russell's autograph. I loved it. I always thought that was so cool.
That's so cool. No, those are the things that you remember, as a kid. That is pretty sweet. Yeah, like I remember when I was a kid, I got signatures from Eric Davis when he was on the Reds, Will Clark. It's like you just kind of recall those things. And I became an Eric Davis fan, like, I don't know why. It's like, I met him and he was really nice to me. So now I'm a fan. But that's how, you build the game and, excite kids about it. So, it's true. I love to see players, embrace children
because he's
not in that way.
Right.
But that's the wrong kind.
Whoa, no.
That's the Epstein kind. Yeah. No. But yeah, like in terms of autographs and like, get out of here, kid. I just hate to see that stuff. But that's cool, man. Well, I don't know, Eric. This is going to be an interesting last 2 months of the season. As the Giants kind of stumble towards the finish line. I don't want them to finish with 100 losses. They haven't finished with 100 losses since 1980. 4?
That's the goal, right? 85, I thought it was.
85,
was it 84?
Yeah, 85. And and it's frustrating.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah, it's 84, 85. I was referring. 84 was the All-Star game, so it was 85, right? Yeah, I think that's what I was mixing the two up there.
85, 100, yes.
Yeah, so it was 85. So, I mean, 40...
It's the only time, too.
Yeah, in the only time. 41 years since they've done it. And so that's just going to be an ultimate low point. Again, no one's going to... Well, I shouldn't say no one's going to remember it. We'll do the podcast in 5 years going, remember when they lost 101 games in 2026? Not putting that a number, but just saying. It's just a number. It's a mythical thing. It's a human construct. But there is something about triple digits. It's really, really painful. So, and by the way, if the Giants won the rest of their games right now, they couldn't even match their 2021 record. They've already lost 68 games. So that ship has sailed. Yeah. That year that they won 107, that was only 55 losses. They've lost 68. Hell, they hit 55 losses like 3 weeks ago. Maybe even more.
Yeah. And I did the math the other day, and they could technically, if things shake a certain way, they could be eliminated from the division by the end of August. Oh. They are 21 games back right now. So they gained a game. No, they didn't gain a game because they lost as well.
Yeah.
Dodgers have lost 5 straight. Wow. Yeah. I didn't even realize that. But they are 21 games behind right now. So if you add on another, 6 or 7 games, you get into September, and they probably play, 3, 6, times 4, 24, 25 games, 26 games in September. They're going to be behind the 8 ball. So the Giants could absolutely get eliminated before September even rolls around.
Yeah.
Which is
that's going to be a rough one. I know. It's even with the exception of the 2017 year. I mean, the Giants have at least been in contention up until at least a couple weeks left in the season. But this is not that year. So, maybe it's a rip the Band-Aid off year. And that's why Posey recognized it. That's why these trades happened. There wasn't any muddling around. There was no Farhan going, I believe we have the best roster in Major League Baseball. Do you remember when he said that like 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. I could not believe that at the trade deadline because they criticized him for not making any. Well, I think we have the best roster in Major League. I'm like, that's just, wow. Wow. and I'm a professional golfer. Said,
like,
what?
Yeah, he's like, we're one good week away. And
there's always a one good week away.
Yeah, the rest of the season was like, all right, is it this the week? Is it next week? Has it been this week? Yeah, I mean, you look at their record the last few years, it's all mediocre. It's, 81-81, 79-83, 80-82, 81-81. So this will be an outlier, obviously, this season compared to other. I mean, even back before then, it was 77-85 and 19, which is more, not as bad as this year's team seems to be. So I'm with you. I think avoiding 100 losses should be the goal for the rest of the season.
Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year, Eric?
No.
Oh. What if we came in and said that? My goal this year for the San Francisco Giants is to avoid 100 losses. Oh, yeah.
God.
Oh, well.
Well, now you totally made me click over to our season preview show, and immediately the opening day roster popped up, and Arise no longer there, Chapman hurt, Schmitt hurt, and then in the outfield you've got Harrison Bader, Gerard Encarnacion, Jung-Hoo Lee, Jared Oliva, and Elio Ramos. Jung-Hoo Lee is the only outfielder who started the season on the opening day roster who is still healthy and on the roster.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Wow, my God,
that's funny. Yeah, because I went to click over because, I said 80 wins, and I was the low man for us. I said 4th place in the West, so I'm definitely going to nail that one. But no, we thought this would be another mediocre around 500 team. So, like you said, it's good to see that Buster has realized what this year is and ripped the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. So, I guess there was no screwing around this year. They floundered in mediocrity where you're still kind of in contention. Because, look, the Padres are only 3 games above 500, and they're only 2 games out of the wild card. So it shows you, you could be a mediocre team and still be in contention. They're the ones who traded for Robbie Ray. And it looks like they're going to beat the Diamondbacks tonight, by the way. So now they're only going to be 1 game out of the wild card position, but only 4 games above 500. So that's kind of where the Giants have been for so many years. And it's very frustrating because they just could never get good enough to make the playoffs, but never bad enough to basically do what they did at the trade deadline this year. So in a weird way, it's like, you know what? Fine. I'm tired of this hovering around 500 and going for it and not making it, because you're just not taking steps forward. So now this might be you got to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. I hope. That said, I really don't want to watch this team flounder for 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? Before potentially these products and the draftees that they got, like Jackson Flora and others, make it to the majors. It's I hope they could be competitive, kind of in between. I mean, look at the White Sox. They were one of the worst teams in baseball last year, and now this year they're fighting for a playoff spot. So things can change really quickly without all of these prospects coming up and hitting it big. Sometimes it's just a weird year comes together. So hopefully, that can happen. But that's the thing. As a Giants fan, you can't just always hope. They got to actually do stuff. So it's bad. But all right, well, that's going to do it for episode 344. We'll be back in a week or two to record 345. You can follow us, as always, at TorchCast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find everything at torchcast.com. You can also email us, torchcast@gmail.com. Follow us individually at ChadK21 and at 2 Out Hits for Eric. That's with the number 2, which is a beautiful thing to say. 2 Out Hits are lovely. Eric, got anything to pimp? No.
Absolutely not. Stay hydrated. That's all I got. Stay hydrated. We've been pushing 120 here the last few days. Stay hydrated.
And oh my God, I haven't even checked your weather down there. That sounds awful. So
it's been the hottest. It's been the hottest stretch, and the air conditioner at work does not run so good. So I have had a long couple. I've drank a lot of Gatorade in the last couple weeks. Let's just say that.
Stay hydrated for sure.
I can't wait for October. We got we're in the thick of it right now. I can't wait for October. That's where I'm at. So
that is
like a good baseball fan. I'm just looking forward to October.
Yeah, we were only like 95 to 98 here last week, and we're not quite as dry as you, so. Wow, that's crazy. Although Hawaii was a little warm, but it's Hawaii, so whatever. It's fun. All right, that'll do it. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Until then, like Eric said, stay hydrated and go River Cats. Boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.